Welcome to Charlie in Sotogrande, the podcast where we look at the people, the places, and the passions that make Sotogrande this fantastic community it is.
You miss the fairway, you were dead. To make a way of living on golf, you need to be lucky.
Today we have someone very special, someone who's played in the Masters. Okay, he's played in Augusta and in all the majors of golf. Okay, and what's even better is that he's called Sotogrande his home. Álvaro Quirós, very welcome.
Thank you.
The first question I ask everybody on the podcast is, how would you introduce yourself to someone you've never known, never met you? What would you say about yourself?
Well, I don't have too many things to say, but mainly I'm coming from a very humble background, from a very small town called Guadiaro. Luckily, I found out on my way a golf course, and after that, I've been related to golf all my life.
So how did that happen? If you're a golfer, obviously we all know that. When you say a humble, how did you get into start playing golf? Was it La Cañada?
Yeah, I mean, obviously La Cañada is the first public golf course in the history of Spain, and as I said, I was lucky enough to be born and raised in Guadiaro, which is 3 minutes away from La Cañada. Yeah,
and why is La Cañada the first, or only one, or the first? Was that Patiño? I think, was he involved?
Well, it was an idea from some local guys who, at the beginning of their life, were working as a caddie in Sotogrande, in Real Club de Golf of Sotogrande. And obviously, after speaking with a lot of people, influenced by the local council, they get the piece of land and the support of many different people to raise the golf course.
I think it's fantastic because I think today Valderrama is number 1 in Spain, Real Club is probably number 2 in Spain, La Reserva is ranking very high, but that everybody can play golf. You know, it's a very high thing, golf, but everybody can play here, really.
Well, as I said, in my case, it's priceless.
Yeah,
it changed my life because having the opportunity to make a way of living playing golf, it's something that not everybody can say. Yeah. And I have to say it was all thanks to La Cañada.
Yeah. And who were the sort of teachers then at the time? How did you get it? I mean, what was the discipline from a young person to come in?
At the beginning of the club, the brothers Juan Quirós and Bartolomé Quirós brothers were the main ones.
Family of yours?
No, we are not related.
Okay.
Juan was more the guy who was trying to compete back then, and Bartolo was daily basis the one who managed the school, the kids' school. Mm-hmm. And well, the golf course obviously started to grow up in members and in influence in the area, and thanks to that, start to grow up.
And it was 9 holes originally?
Correct.
And then it changed, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the original 9 holes were now considered the back 9.
Okay.
And the new ones are the front 9, from 1 to 9.
And which do you prefer? Which they're very different in a way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have to consider when La Cañada was given the piece of land, they were kind of free to design a golf course.
Right.
Once the front 9 or the back 9 were built, they have a limited and restricted area to build the other 9 holes.
Right.
So if you want to call it, the back 9, the original ones are very nice in design and they are challenging. Yeah. The front 9 are a little bit more humble in the competitive side of it. Yeah. A bit more simple, they are more stuck in a piece of land. But in general, as I said, we are very lucky just having a golf course.
Absolutely. And for me as well, because when I play there, I do better on that front 9 because I'm useless at golf. When I play with Stephanie, we go there and I usually get, 38, 39, 40 points, which for me is impossible.
and then the scary moments are arriving in the back 9.
Yeah, on the 18th particularly, when you get to that very big, the barranco, as they say.
La Cañada.
La Cañada. I can actually go over it now, because of lessons I've been taking. So it's really good. So who were your mentors at the beginning? Who were the people that you were?
Well, I was initiated by my father, obviously, because he was a former caddie at Real Club de Golf Sotogrande, and he was a scratch player already. Then I was lucky enough to be taught by but at the beginning by the people of the golf course, and afterwards by Pedro Tineo, which is a local man,
right,
which is very knowledgeable about golf. After that, I jumped into the national team, and I went to Madrid and spent 3 years over there, already being a member of the national team already. Being there, my last year as an amateur, I find out Jose Rivero, which is a former European Tour player, 22 years on tour, a few Ryder Cups. So I've been very lucky.
Yeah. Do you feel that you have a duty or a responsibility to help young kids now at La Cañada as an individual who, or is that maybe to come in your life because you're still playing, obviously? So
from my point of view, it's not a responsibility, but it's something that I will. I mean, the influence that so many of these guys have had on me are again
huge.
I mean, to make a way of living on golf, you need to be lucky.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have to put apart the hard work.
Yeah.
But I would like to give to any young kid that I see some kind of ability or even efforts, the opportunity to bring him my knowledge.
Yeah, of course.
And if that ends up in a golfing career, great.
Yeah.
If it's not, at least I've been sharing time with people that deserve, in a sense, my effort too.
Yeah, I think it's as I'm younger than me, but what I find is that giving back, and it's not financial. It's not.
No.
It's all for you actually.
That's it. In a selfish way, I completely agree with you.
You give back, and
Yes.
And you try and say thank you for yourself.
Yeah.
To life in a way, because that's the way the cookie crumbled for you. You know, it's a lovely thing. Sotogrande has incredible golf courses. Okay, Valderrama, obviously, La Reserva is coming up. I think in ranking. I'm not sure whether they're paying for it because these magazines seem to rank it.
I don't really know.
How can that be so fast? You know. But anyway, it's doing that. What makes them stand out for you? I mean, is it the weather we have here? Is it the because along the coast here, La Costa del Golf, we have a lot of good courses, but I think we still have perhaps the one or two better ones here.
Well, obviously, the engine is Valderrama.
Yeah.
Clearly, hosting the first Ryder Cup ever away from the Great Britain Island.
Yeah.
It was a huge movement. In the local area, I perfectly remember when they were building up roads and everything.
Yeah.
The highway didn't reach Guadiaro
Yeah.
from Malaga Airport. Ends up
That's
in Marbella.
right. The motorway only got to Estepona somewhere.
That's it.
And that last thing.
Everything was developed to host that event.
Yeah.
So you can see that was a huge push for the area, and after that, obviously, I think we discover how important could be, economically speaking, golf for the area.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the local governments are already conscious how much money brings golf or golf tourism into the area, and I think we have developed and squeezed that very nicely.
Yeah.
But to resume, weather, safeness. I mean, we are very safe. I mean, it's an area that obviously we still have issues, if you want to call it.
Every place has issues.
Correct. But it's comfy. It's less than an hour away from Malaga Airport, who has become an important international airport in Europe speaking. Yeah. And the local design, we have our own villas, we have everything, to support a nice life.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Real Club was the first one, way back with McMicken when he brought in Trent Jones to design it. There are all sorts of anecdotes that I love because of the wide fairways, and they said that they designed it in feet, and when they got here, they marked it out in meters. So everything is 10% bigger, maybe not longer, but wider, things like that. And I'm a member there, Real Club, as you know, and the pictures on the wall, of the greens, and it's very generous.
And that's sometimes in a windy area like this. Yeah, is something to have in consideration. I mean, it makes golf a bit more enjoyable instead of suffer it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I used to be a member of La Reserva, San Roque, and I'm there now because I can walk it. And as I get older, it's a course I want to walk. I mean, that will be my exercise as you get into your 70s and 80s later on, And La Reserva, I can't walk that.
It's harder.
It's harder. I mean, even the pros, I think, when the caddies, when they do the tournaments there with the LET, The caddies were taken on a buggy from from the first green to the second tee box. It's
a long walk.
Yeah.
That's to speed up the pace of play. I mean,
also, it's
clearly.
I feel sorry for the caddies, not the players.
Correct.
Yeah. No, the speed of play as well, of course. That's important. What makes Valderrama so iconic? Even the professionals. I mean, I know you said yes because of the Ryder Cup, and that made the area very famous. And Jimmy Patiño did a huge job. I mean, when you think President of the United States was there, it was a huge amount of publicity for the area. But the golf course itself, he redesigned. I think it was called Las Aves.
Correct. That was the original name.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what he did. Someone told me he brought in 300 cork trees and planted them all over the place. I don't know whether it's true or not, but he must have done a lot of things to make it that iconic thing it is.
It's still, and you describe it properly, iconic.
Yeah.
And that, how do you call it? That will put in the same bag a lot of different characteristics.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. And I want to be very respectful with this. Not necessarily is the best design. It's not necessarily the best.
The longest.
The longest. It's not necessarily the best, whatever.
Yeah.
But Valderrama is a very special place because it's in immaculate state.
Yeah.
Normally, I mean, it's always
perfect.
All the year is in a very nice shape.
Yeah.
Almost perfection. After, I would say, from March to November, it's absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
Then those cork trees, as you said, those famous cork trees. This is an area full of cork trees.
Yeah, natural.
To be honest with you, you can see some pictures in 1982 when Las Aves was called Las Aves and then became Valderrama. Obviously, the golf course was a bit more open.
Yeah.
But I'm not too sure if that was on purpose about the cork trees. But what I know as a fact is that while Patiño was in here, the cork trees was absolutely forbidden to touch.
Yeah.
So they become so huge, low. The branches were so low that makes terrible when you miss the fairways.
Yeah.
That was another key thing in Valderrama back in the past.
Yeah.
You miss the fairway, you were dead.
Yeah.
Heavy rush in the low side.
Yeah.
Again. So I think while Patiño was alive, he wanted to build up or to keep a golf course that makes professional golfers' life harder. Yeah. That was his purpose.
Yes.
In some other great golf courses, the purpose is to see professionals showing off.
Yeah.
His purpose was to become a nightmare for the professionals. Yeah. That's why they hosted 21 years the Volvo Masters. Yeah. That was back in the days, the last tournament of the season too. Yeah. To American Express. So I think Valderrama has a lot of assets that in today's golf era are difficult to keep.
Yeah. And certain players love it and others hate it. I mean,
I'm one of those, and I practice there every day.
You hate it?
Yeah.
Well, that's because you hit it long.
Well, I hit it long, but I don't have advantage in that golf course.
Yeah.
That's why I hate it.
You hit it long, you go slightly out, but Sergio Garcia, I mean, he's won on LIV, he's won there 3 or 4 times.
Because you are talking about one of the best ball strikers in the history of golf. Yeah. I mean, Sergio Garcia can win in any golf course. So
but there he can play.
Yeah, he find out the perfect spot for himself.
Yeah. You take the 5-iron out rather than the 3-wood or something, and make it with
Yeah, he's pushing always the boundaries, your mental boundaries.
Yeah. How interesting. You've had the honor of playing in many majors. How many in total?
17, I think.
17.
Yeah.
I remember when I first came here and I first met you and looking at the television about this day, Thursday of the Masters, and you were on the leaderboard.
Okay, that was supposed to be 2011.
Something around there. Something like that. I mean, playing at the Masters. Tell me about that. What is that?
That's another iconic venue.
Oh, that's right.
But again, there are huge difference between Valderrama and the Masters. The Masters is a golf course that is built up every year. 3 holes are completely new. They
really.
Wow. They close the golf course. And they, more than building up, renew every 3 holes.
Okay.
Every 3 greens. So
because
every year.
Technologically, it's amazing. I was listening on the other day that, if there's frost, there's no problem because they've got air coming out of the greens. If there's too much water, there's no problem because they can run it off all the time. I don't know exactly who owns Augusta, but it's obviously a bunch of millionaires or billionaires who it's their toy and they fix it up. The fact that it's always played there, the fact that there's no advertising other than one or two brands, they control it. I mean, it's.
Well, again, that's why it has been built up. In a more artificial way than Valderrama. Valderrama, everything in the Masters is very nice, to be honest with you. They don't serve you a Coke. They open the can for you and they serve the Coke in a Masters glass.
Right, so you can't see the brand Coke.
You can't see any brand.
Yeah.
You can't see any brand. I mean, we are invited by the event. Yeah. Obviously, if you are in the inside of the top 50 in the world, like I was back in the past, you are invited by the club. So there are rules to follow, but you're still being a guest.
Yeah, yeah.
Then your food is paid by one of the members while you are there.
Really?
No, there are so many.
So many. A member sort of sponsors you your cost through the.
Correct. So it's a very special.
Do you get to meet the member?
Not really. No. I mean, if any of them approach to you, they are going to be well dressed with their own jacket, and you are going to recognize them most of the time. But most of the times, it's a normal tournament or a normal event with those particular things.
Great. Sorry for the interruption, but here's one of my tips that I think is very important. If you're going to buy a house here in Sotogrande or anywhere on the coast, I think it's important to hire an independent lawyer. The lawyer will look after you, will make sure that all legal due diligence is done correctly, will ensure that all contracts are reviewed and done in a proper manner. They will make sure that they represent you, if you wish them to, by giving them power of attorney, because it's difficult, because sometimes you can't fly back and forth all the time. And of course, they're going to ensure that you are comfortable and secure through the whole transaction. So look for a good lawyer that will represent you, is my tip. Do you think that Valderrama could become I call it the Augusta of Europe anyway, but
I agree.
As a club where now the members own it. Before it was owned by Mr. Patiño, then it went to Zagaleta sold it to the members own it. They could have, if they got together, and I don't know what the cost of this would be, but I'm sure the members of Valderrama have a combined net worth of a lot of money. They could, if they really wanted to, have a Augusta type tournament there that they manage, that they tell the TV what to do, not the TV tells them what to do. Is that too ambitious?
There are huge difference.
Yeah.
One of them, and for me is the most important one, you have to consider a potential market in the States that we don't have in Europe, golfing speaking. And what I mean with this is, I don't know how many golfers are in the States. Thanks to that, Augusta grows up.
Because they sell the TV rights.
I mean,
the TV
it's
rights
huge.
Yeah.
The amount of money that they make.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Back in 2011, when I used to play it, I mean, just the Masters week in merchandise, they make between merchandise and TV rights, they used to make 120 millions just that week.
Wow.
And that only, that's only possible if you have that market.
Yeah.
In Europe, we're still far away from those numbers, so in that sense it's difficult. But Valderrama was already that type of venue.
Yeah.
I mean, as I said, hosting 21 years the last tournament of the season is something that nobody has ever done.
Yeah. I mean, I as you know, we're in real estate here, and when I talk to people about Valderrama, they say, yeah, but I can't play it. It's there, it's pretty. It's nice to say it's round the corner, but I have to be invited by guests. Okay, I'm not sure even if a green fee is possible. I think there's a window.
It's a window.
There's a window. Is that by law?
Depending of the time of the year, it's a 1 hour window or 2 hours window.
Yeah, and that window. It's not affordable to most people.
Correct.
Because it's extremely expensive.
But Augusta either, eh?
Oh, I know.
I mean, what I mean with this, Augusta is closed 3 or 4 months a year.
Yeah.
So they are going to open the golf course 9 to 8 months a year, and they only can play members.
Yeah, and the members that live within, I want to drive to my golf course, are probably very few. They're all
Correct.
in San Francisco, they're in
Completely
Miami,
agree.
they're in New York, they're wherever.
But that's why, I mean, and that's a rule. That's
rule,
why,
yeah.
what I mean is, if, think about it, if I own a golf course, will I prefer members that they are constantly in the golf course or members that they show up from time to time? To keep up with the maintenance,
Yes, of course.
I want them
Yeah, yeah.
to be less as possible.
Yeah.
They are going to pay the fee anyway.
Yeah, of course.
I know that it sounds a bit weird, but
Yeah.
it's just smart,
Yeah.
right? Well, with Augusta, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So you played the majors, the Open.
The Open, very special one too.
Which one did you play, or which ones?
I play at St. Andrews.
Yeah.
I play at Muirfield. I played at let me remember, Tunbury.
Turnberry.
That was famous because Tom Watson almost won it.
That's true.
With a few.
Yeah, he lost in the last minute to.
Stuart Sink.
Yes.
Stuart Sink. And the last one, I tried to delay them because I suffered that much with the weather that I have another two. I play 5 Opens.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's Links course, Links golf, and
Yeah.
that's so different to what maybe you've been used to. When you grew up with trees, not flat.
I grew up to the wind.
That's true.
Playing with the wind.
Yes.
But not with the sense of kicking the ball there to end up over there and run over there.
Yeah.
It's a different way to play golf, but it makes your imagination to grow quicker, and you become more mature because most of the time you are not that close to the flag.
Yeah.
So you play a different golf. It's a golf to don't get in troubles more than shooting arrows to the targets.
Yeah, and do you use a local caddy or a local someone that can, because I played in links golf and you have to have a caddy on certain courses, and you said the greens over there.
Yeah, and you don't believe
it.
it.
Hit it there. I said, why? Because they hit it there.
Then when you hit it there, you realize why he told you to hit
and the
it
ball
there.
ends up there. I said because of the wind, and everything and the shape.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are. I've been lucky enough to have all kind of caddies, but I've been working with a few Scottish, and they were already experienced on tours. So they were already in those events before me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So and we have the practice rounds that they give us the opportunity to check every single corner of the course.
Yeah. Every person wants to win their own national tournament, which you have.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that?
That was 2008, I think.
Yeah. I can tell you. I got it.
2009.
9? Okay.
Or 10.
2009. No, you 10.
10. 2010.
I got it.
It's too long. It's too far away. Back in the past.
But that's a tick in your career,
I
obviously, a big one. But after that, which one of the majors would you have preferred to have won? Augusta,
the Masters.
Open, the Masters, yeah.
The Masters.
Yeah.
In my case, yes, because there is at the Masters, we have to speak. We play an outdoor sport.
Yeah.
But in the Open, weather could be very cruel. Mm-hmm. Between the first one that tee offs on a Thursday and the last one that tee offs on the same day,
make it totally
8 hours.
It's the luck of the draw, really.
And that for me is kind of the harsh part of it. I mean, it's like, well, you know what? Yeah, the golf course was playing average in 72 shots in the morning and suddenly 76 shots on the afternoon. Yeah. At the Master, that happens very rarely. Yeah. I mean, normally the weather over there is a bit more steady. Yeah. And again, in Augusta, you have so many places that they are only for the players. It's difficult to believe that. But when you left the 12th green, walking to the 13th tee, you are 180 meters away from the public. Wow. And that's nice. Yeah. That's nice because the crowds over there are noisy, but at the same time, you can have the biggest silence ever. Yeah. And that contrast make that situation different. Yeah. So that's why at the rest of the majors, most of the time you are surrounded by people. Yeah.
You made a small mistake there. They're not crowds, they're patrons.
Sorry, you're right. Sorry. You see, that's my level of English.
No. It's only there that they call them patrons.
Yeah, you're right.
Everywhere else they're crowds.
You are completely.
They're patrons. And the TV, they're talking, no, it's not great patrons.
Completely agree with you. Yeah, you're right.
Another little weird thing,
But that's another key. Yeah. Why that is that special. Yeah. They have been able to, again, to push and to sell you their own speech.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, this is so interesting. Yeah. You've also had success in the Middle East, Dubai. You've won there on 2 occasions, Qatar and Dubai, and you know.
I won a couple of times in Dubai. You're right.
Yeah.
One in Qatar, a few seconds. Yes.
And
It was the most similar thing that I have from home.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, because weather normally in January over there is nice.
Yeah.
Windy area, could be Qatar too.
Yeah.
Dubai not that much, but windy area. And I don't know, I was lucky, I guess, with the design of the golf courses. They were more designed for proper hitters, you know, long hitters.
Yeah.
And in that sense, I was lucky.
Right. And now the Middle Eastern, Saudi particularly, they're sort of buying golf in a way, or buying all sports because they're into everything.
Yes,
yeah?
correct.
It's not just golf.
No,
and LIV, of course, is the one big one, which of course we here enjoy because they
No
come
doubt.
to Valderrama, you know.
Yeah.
And
No doubt.
what's your feeling about LIV generally and LIV for Sotogrande?
In general, you know, I have considered golf one of the fewest sports. I don't know the proper word to describe it is the one that I'm going to say, but it's meritocracy.
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 Yeah.
LIV destroy that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a sense, it's another part of the business of golf.
Yeah.
I'm very happy, to be honest with you, as a spectator to watch LIV because it's a nice golf tournament.
Yeah.
Different characteristics. You know, they play shorts, they play shotgun. It makes the format more attractive or less attractive depending of the viewer, which is respectful. I mean, at all. But in my sense, the more conservative golf make you reach those levels because you play well.
Yeah.
LIV select their own individuals, and well, that ends up in a format that is not the more conservative one, the one that we used to, and the one that I make of living.
Yeah.
But again, in the business size, great. It's another thing to look at, to watch.
Right. The top players there are diluting their ranking because
well, as a consequence of not having world ranking points in those LIV events, which is something again that people get into it very quickly. But they knew already when they set up the base of their own tour that they didn't accomplish the requirements to get world ranking points. So it's not a surprise.
Yeah. And do you think they'll come together? Because last year...
I would love to think so, yes. I mean, because again, as a spectator, for me, it's a shame that I'm struggling to watch in TV the best players in the world split in 2 tours, basically. DP World Tour has become a bit more weaker now, unfortunately. It's sad from my point of view, but it's the truth. So basically, you can see people on LIV Tour, on PGA Tour. While before, for good or for bad, it was a monopoly of the PGA Tour. And the best players were based over there, and you can see every single good player on the majors. Now, as you can see, some of the good players are dropping off the top 50 in the world, so we are missing them. And that's a shame because they are playing on LIV.
And they'll only get in through invitations or through...
on majors in the majors is more difficult because there are very specific criteria requirements, specifications.
That's an incredible list of criteria. I mean, obviously, if you've won it once, you get exemptions.
It's a bit more... accessible for the PGA Tour than for the European side. I mean, let's say for the Masters, or you are inside of the top 50 in the world, or for a European Tour player, there is not any other exemption. For the Americans, they have. So it's easier always for them because they have more exemptions than for us.
The biggest exemption is win it. And
yes.
For life.
Yes, you're right. At the Masters, at the Masters is for life. The Open is only up to 50 years old.
50 years old. Okay.
Yes.
Because you think of the Masters, and I mean, all due respect, you know, Freddie Couples is not going to win it, but it's fantastic to have him there. You know,
as a viewer, I agree with you. As in the competitive side,
because
there's not
96 players, of which I think I heard 14 have
past
won it.
Past
champions who are playing, and you know, plus the ones that don't make it, but they go to the dinner and everything else. But that's innuendo.
Well, if you think about it. maybe I'm wrong, but about numbers, the majors, the easier major to win is the Masters.
Really?
Well, it's a smaller
Yes,
field.
of course.
It's a smaller field, and inside of that field, you have 14, 15 players that they are over 56 years old.
Yeah. And I'm not going to do it. Yeah. Other than
It's not that they're not going to do it.
Nicolas did it.
It's not that it's not going to do it. It's in the starting point.
Yeah.
On top of the papers, they are not there.
Yeah.
Then, and that's again the beauty of golf.
Yeah.
Meritocracy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Let's see.
Yeah. Okay, good. And LIV in Sotogrande. You think LIV is good for Sotogrande? I think it must be. I mean,
It has to be. I mean, I don't see any negative point on hosting international sport event. Yeah. Having said LIV, I said polo, I said wherever.
Yeah.
And a sports event is going to bring always something positive, and I don't see the negative side of it. We, luckily enough, we have hotels, enough rooms to host every tourist and those events.
Well, maybe not enough hotels. If when it's
now
like
with that. Now they are building up. Now that is open, the Fairmont at La Hacienda is another opportunity.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a bit far away. Well,
but it's
away.
still close enough. And,
yeah.
And I mean the players. Although before they stayed at Finca Cortesin, now the So is much more acceptable. As you say, the Fairmont is such a fantastic hotel now. I think that's going to take off. The MIM, when it comes on, will be, not many rooms, but it'll be very, very handy.
We can never forget that this area, and as a local, I'm lucky to say this, is still a temporary area. And I said that I'm lucky. Seasonal, sorry, that's seasonal, the proper word.
Yeah.
July and August, we are fully packed.
Yeah.
We make 10 times more people,
yeah.
and then decrease, which is great for me.
Yeah,
I don't like to queue in the supermarket.
There are no red lights. The traffic is no traffic jams.
Right.
You go to Marbella, and you go through that tunnel, and you stop.
And you see, and you have now pronounced a very important thing. We still different to Marbella. Oh, Marbella is a beauty. Don't take me wrong.
Yeah.
But the atmosphere over there is way more different than we are, and we have to be very thankful to that.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's and every guest I've had, we've had that little touch, and I didn't bring it up this time. You did, which is interesting because Marbella, in a way, we need it.
No doubt.
Because people here would like to go to a Michelin star restaurant and they can't have it here, but it's only 30 minutes down the road.
Correct.
And that's what so makes.
It's another asset in favor on our side, but it's true, and for me it will be key that we don't become closer to Marbella. In the sense of what we want from Sotogrande.
Yeah, I think we're far away enough, but then you think going back 50 years, you see Benalmádena, the Torremolinos, how that's just become a massive, and that's what went out.
Correct.
And then you have Marbella, which is growing as well. Estepona is also growing, and I think
in a nice way, I have to say.
Yeah. Estepona.
It's lovely to have a walk in Marbella, in Estepona.
Yeah, the mayor's done a great job there.
Correct.
Now it's all walkways, and the gardens are beautiful.
That's probably what I would love to have a bit more here.
Yeah.
Those walkways.
Yeah, you're right.
In a sense, for a very small area, we still need to use the car.
Sure.
While I know in Sotogrande you can always take a bicycle and 10 minutes later you're in the beach.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
But I would love to have the opportunity to walk into the same spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to your career now. You're still playing?
Yes. Well, I was about to say something bad. Yeah. I still fighting it. Still fighting it.
And you think you're going to keep going for another, few years or?
No, I don't think so. No, because now I'm becoming into an area where, I want it. I still have the fire. Yeah. But now I have a family. And golf, in a sense, the last 2 years trying it, it's been costing me money. Yeah. And you can't go forever in that way when you have a family. When you have responsibilities, family speaking, you need to start thinking in a different way.
I know. I used to live in Ireland, and I was working in the tobacco world. And tobacco sponsored then a lot. I mean, obviously now it's very little. And we used to have days, I used to take my clients to the K Club, and we had one of the very famous golfers, and we had Christy O'Connor Jr., who was there. And he would play one hole with the group of three, and then he would play the next hole with the next group coming through. So he had played a hole with him.
Yes.
And then we had a dinner and everything else.
Nice.
And I remember it struck me so much that he said, I start my year, and this was in 1994, 93, I bring in my year, then, minus £50,000. Because
back then, you're right. That's what I mean.
To plan my years around, my flights, my hotel, my caddy, my training. So I start minus every year before I even get to a first tournament.
Correct.
And it's a tough life.
It's performance life.
Yeah.
And that is the tricky side of it, or the beauty of it. That's why I was saying at the beginning of the conversation about the LIV, people in LIV has secure money, which is great, economically speaking, and without performance.
Sure.
That's something that golfers are not used to.
So just by turning up, they get a chunk of money. Or by coming last, they get a chunk of money.
Yes, that's it. That's it. That's the huge difference. Now, in my case, let's say, starting point, back in those years where Christy O'Connor were meeting with you, those numbers were based in the all European tour. Yeah. That they start in March and finish in October without coming from Europe.
Yeah, and didn't
imagine now.
Yeah, Dubai.
In the world that we live, that you are traveling from the very, very first point, speaking DP World Tour, all around the world except in Europe. Yeah. First tournament in Europe probably will be now in April. Yeah. The rest of your time is Middle East or Asia. That makes an initial investment, which is an investment in I'll go for it. Yeah. If it's good, it's a great deal. I mean, don't take me wrong. I've been very lucky, and in an economical position way better than my friends that they have normal jobs with a salary. Yeah. Don't take me wrong, but at the same time, I earn it. Yeah, nobody gifted.
Of course.
But my point was now that I'm in second division, Challenge Tour, and not even with a full category to play, are almost the same expenses with 1/4 of the prize fund. Yeah. So trying it without getting it is not sustainable.
And what about sponsorship? Is that what makes you rich as a golfer?
The sponsorship, and that's the issue really. Not me, but since I have memory, I don't remember Spanish players supported by Spanish companies. Right. Because unfortunately, golf in Spain is still watched in some areas like spoiled people.
Elite sport. Yeah.
Elite sport companies that they have more than plenty to sponsor a golfer. They decide to go into different ways. Yeah. And in that sense, we don't feel the support of any Spanish company. Never. I never have a Spanish sponsor. Yeah. And I tell you, of my generation, any of my compatriots were supported by Spanish companies.
But usually it's a golf companies.
Now has opened a bit more the market. Yeah. It's an exchange.
Yeah, you see it with the Koreans. I mean, the Koreans, I mean, obviously sometimes you don't understand, but you don't know what those companies are. And it must be local to them. Yeah.
Korea golf is huge. Yeah. But what I mean with this is sometimes it's just something, how do you call it, when we have a chemistry. Yeah. I met Charles. Yeah. Charles is a guy with money. Yeah. That play golf, that loves
not money,
that loves golf. Yeah. And hey, you know what, Alvaro? Are you interested in exchange some of your time with my clients? Yeah. We reach a deal. Yeah. Or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Again, my main sponsor for a bit, more than a sponsor was, how do you call it? We exchanged services, was with BMW Spain. Okay. And I was with them 4 or 5 years because the general manager was a big golf fan. Once this one left, finished. The next one came in, loved sailing.
Yeah, so now
I was gone. and the money went to sailing.
Yeah, but what about the Callaways and the Titleists? And
Yeah, they're still supporting. Obviously, I still have a great relationship thanks to with Callaway.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't have contracts or something like that because, again, every single brand look for their own wellness.
Yeah.
And
the results, because that's at the end of the day what makes it happen.
Meritocracy.
Yeah, you are as good as your last round of golf.
Unfortunately,
But that's the same with me. I'm as good as my last sale.
Correct.
You know, and that sale is not going to make me sell again. I
Correct.
have to do the whole thing again.
But that's why it's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you have a salary, you have a salary.
Yeah, exactly.
And your performance is not measured
by
every day as we do in the competitive side.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or through your last sale.
Yeah. So now that you're coming to the autumn of your career, where would you think you'll end up? What's your next step when you stop playing? Are you going to wait to be 50 and then go on the senior tour? Or
that's still far away. I'm 42.
Exactly. I know, it's a long way.
I'm 42, it's still a long way. I mean, to be honest with you, I would love to tell you that I will never left competitive side of it. But as I said, that's my situation now. A way to give back would be to help and support young guys.
But you're not thinking of opening up an academy?
It's not that easy in the area, eh?
No?
If you think about it, no.
Look at Almenara now. They've got their little...
They have their own plans. They have their own...
with Manuel Pinero.
Well, Manuel was the one who designed the academy. Yeah. I don't know if Manuel is going to be the one who managed the academy. You know, it's a plan that is still to be watched. Yeah. But then after that, that's all.
Yeah.
Any of the local golf courses are able to, or they are not interested of hosting an academy. No. Because they have to face the situation or support their membership, not necessarily somebody who wants to build up an academy to help others that they are not members in those golf courses. Yeah. So
Campbell was here. Michael Campbell, remember?
Yeah,
he went to Villapadierna. Did that happen, or did that?
Yeah, it did happen, but nobody knows anything. Yeah, so that's a proof that doesn't really take off. Yeah. And again, Villapadierna is a very special place with 3 golf courses and everything, but it's not really taking off.
So you don't have a fixed plan. You don't have the idea of
not yet. I'm open to many different things, and you know.
But anything you particularly like? I mean, it will be golf related, I assume.
I will love. But as I said, once I stop the competitive side of it, I'm open to more things.
Well, you come and sell houses with me.
Well, I don't know. First of all, I don't know if my level of English is good enough.
Of course it is.
Secondly, I don't know if I have the marketing side of it, but I'm open to that, you know, for a salary.
For a salary, yes. So you don't have to worry about the next.
Not for free, please.
Very good. Is there anything you think, Alvaro, that I haven't asked you that you wish I had asked you for this podcast?
No, it's been an interesting chat, I will say.
Yeah.
I have put on top of the table nice things.
Yes,
you have come out with an idea.
Yeah.
No, I think the way to improve Sotogrande, maybe?
That's my next question. Is what is not broken but needs to be fixed in Sotogrande?
I think there is always merge in life in everything to improve.
Yes. Oh, of course.
Probably I'm not the cleverest meant to figure it out what can be improved, but I still missing again that Sotogrande with that wide streets and these how do you call it, pathways that they are is not that friendly to walk. Yeah, I would like to see it be more open into that.
That's true, and I think it's one of the mistakes of design originally. They don't have pathways along the streets. I mean, you go Paseo del Parque, it does have that white line, but you get cars, and in summer it becomes people walking, cycling, children, and it becomes almost dangerous.
Obviously, when they design, we have 1/4 of the cars that we have now.
Oh, for sure.
Motorbikes and things like that. But I agree with you. I mean, somebody needs to figure it out and say, hey, how we can make this more attractive.
Yeah. I mean, one of the issues I have with Sotogrande is that there's no one boss. There's no one person. You have the EUC, which is the community. You have the port, which is the
another
port.
way to manage.
You have I call it the 3 big golf courses where they could have. You got the real estate agents, which is a big important thing. You know, we can't get together to drive it. You have the mayor from who has his ambitions and his things.
I see.
You know, so there's no one person. I mean, I mentioned in another podcast. Stephanie and I we're in Casa de Campo in Dominican Republic, and it's 3 times bigger than Sotogrande. Okay, it has the marina, it has the port area, it has fantastic golf courses, it's got the sailing, it's got villas. They're all, but everything is immaculate. You know, you don't walk down and see bins out in the street. You don't walk down and see houses that don't have the lights on at night. You know, even if you're not there, your light has to be on. You know, so it looks as if it's and we've had people come here, you know, when it was Almenara, maybe a little bit better now, and they would drive down from the hotel, go down to the port, and say, I don't want to buy here. So why? Because it's, you know, you
empty.
You walk around, not empty necessarily, but, you know, the little door that you have where your cometida comes in, the water and the electricity, they're all broken. You know, little things like that you really need to have. You know, I think some of it is because people don't live year round, and therefore you need to do it. But other things are, you know, something that we should have mandatory. You know, the ordenanza says you must do this.
Yeah, and they are no cost.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree with you.
Little things.
Little things that they are no cost, and it can be done. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You know, having one person in charge can become a dictator.
Of course.
But in a sense, it's a difficult balance to find out.
Absolutely.
But I completely agree with you. Everything can be improved.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not the wiser man here to take care of everything, but I miss to have a complex, a Sotogrande, a bit more friendly, to walk away every part of Sotogrande, or jogging, or running, you know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of, I'm running by the side of the road, and watch out if a car is going to catch me or not, or a motorbike, or at nights, whatever, in the summertime. Yeah. But in general, again, we are lucky enough to say that it's still very safe.
Yeah. But having said that, everything has got much better. You know, the supermarkets are better. We've got more gyms everywhere. You know, it's the standard has come up.
I mean, I think as a related to of COVID.
Yeah,
because most people has come in to live the full year now.
Yeah.
Instead of temporarily.
No,
seasonally.
That as well as you know, we are along the Costa del Sol here going to have more and more business because the sun shines. Except for last month, it didn't shine, but the sun shines.
But we need it.
But we need it. The sun shines. That's number one. Number two, we have this space that we can, you know, have a low density place where you can live and enjoy your family. You know, as you said right at the beginning, it's safe. It's a place where you don't have to worry about, you know, too much. I mean,
and culturally speaking, when you come and visit us, you realize how lucky we are, the Spaniards.
Oh, for sure.
Otherwise, people wouldn't stay.
Yeah. I mean, the friendliness, the food, the music, the
times, the
culture.
number of hours, which is part of the weather. I agree with you too. But people goes to have lunch 2:00. Yeah. That's insane in Sweden.
Of course.
Why? Yeah. Because at 4:00 in the afternoon they are in dark.
Yes, I know. So all those things add up. No, we're very lucky to live here in Sotogrande, and I think you know, it's a place that we should treasure, we should look after, and as people who live here year round. Alvaro, thank you so much for being with me. It's been a pleasure to have you, and you know, it's a podcast which I hope people will listen to more and more, and you know, I'd love to have more guests. And if you have anyone that you think would like to be here, just tell me.
I will think about it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much indeed. Thanks for tuning in to Charlie in Sotogrande, and I hope you enjoyed this last episode. Please may I ask you to do me one favor. Would you mind subscribing to the channel and sharing it with anybody you think may enjoy it? Until next time, thank you very much. I'm Charlie. Hope to see you soon on this podcast.